Life Stories of American Presidents presents the story of George Washington. In the trackless wilderness, where the lurking enemy gave no quarter, he learned the grim lessons of courage and fortitude that would someday help him forge 13 colonies into one nation. Born in Virginia in 1732, George is orphaned at 11 and left in the care of his half-brother Lawrence. "Stay here with me, George, at Mount Vernon. I will provide for you." "Thank you, Lawrence, but I must learn to make my own way." George grows tall and strong, a fine scholar. By the age of 14, he has mastered enough mathematics to become a surveyor. "You're doing a fine job, lad. All our neighbors are talking about it." "Good. Maybe some of them will hire me to survey their fields." At 16, George's reputation as a surveyor gets him the job of mapping the vast Fairfax estates in the wilderness of the Shenandoah. During the French and Indian Wars, young Washington's frontier knowledge earns him important assignments in the colonial militia. At 22, he commands the defense of Fort Necessity against the French and Indians. Make every shot count. In recognition of his courage and ability, Washington is named as aide to General Braddock, whose task is to drive the French out of the Ohio Valley. Unskilled in frontier fighting, Braddock does not listen to Washington's advice. "But, sir, if we march against the enemy in close ranks, they will mow us down like wheat." "Nonsense, Washington. I can't have British regulars hiding behind trees like skulking cowards." Then one day, suddenly, an ambush! It's the French and Indians! Oh! General Braddock, he's hit! "Badly hurt. Can't last. Take command, Washington. Save the men." The expedition is hopelessly trapped. Only young Washington's cool courage saves the rest of the ill-fated army. "Sir, we can't see the enemy. They're all around us." "Take cover behind the trees. We must fight them in Indian fashion." Surrounded by a ruthless enemy, Washington knows that only courage and fighting spirit will help his men survive. With quiet courage, he leads his men through the wilderness to safety. Washington returns to Virginia in bad health, but by 1758, he has recovered and is in command of the colonial forces, which helped to capture Fort Mackenzie. In 1759, Washington marries Martha Custis and returns to Mount Vernon, which he has inherited from his brother Lawrence. A good farmer, he uses the newest agricultural methods. "We have planted the last of the grapevines, sir." "Splendid. We can begin on the cherry trees tomorrow. I want to try some grafting experiments." Years of peace and plenty follow. Washington enjoys the outdoors. He is a splendid rider and an enthusiastic hunter. But storm clouds are gathering. England is taxing her colonies more heavily each year. Angry colonists talk of rebellion. "Taxes on glass, on paper and tea, and molasses. Soon they will be taxing the very air we breathe. How long must we stand for this?" "No taxation without representation." And Patrick Henry's words echo through the land. "I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." As a well-known public figure and the most respected man in Virginia, Washington's advice is sought by all his neighbors. "What will you do if there's a war with England, Mr. Washington?" "If my country calls me, I'm always ready to answer." with my musket on my shoulder. And his country does call him. In 1775, the Continental Congress appoints Washington Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. On his trip northward to take command, he receives news of Bunker Hill. The latest dispatches, sir. Our militia fought the British at Bunker Hill. So the militia stood and fought. In that case, the liberties of our country are safe. The roar of musketry rings through the New England countryside. The great American Revolution has begun. In letters of fire, its story is written in the hearts of all Americans. Saratoga, Long Island, Princeton, Brandywine, Valley Forge, Trenton. Washington's troops fight like demons, but a shortage of food and supplies soon leaves them in desperate straits. So many of our men must sit by the fire because we have no blankets. More than half our army is too weak for combat. We have had no money from Congress in months. More men are deserting every day. Yes, there are desertions, but the soldiers who remain still have faith and hope. Come with me, gentlemen. There's someone you should hear. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny is not easily conquered, yet the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. That was Thomas Paine. With men like that shouting our cause, we cannot lose in the end. Guided by Washington's fortitude, the Continental Army hangs on doggedly, fighting, starving, retreating, only to turn and fight again. Puzzled by Washington's tactics, the main British army retreats to New York. In the spring of 1781, Washington is back in the New Jersey Highlands, planning a new attack. We've had some dark hours, gentlemen, but things are looking up. Now the French are sending a fleet to help us. With their help, we can drive the British from Manhattan. That is splendid news, sir. We've been waiting for this chance. Then one day, an exhausted messenger arrives. Dispatches, sir, from General Lafayette. He has Lord Cornwallis trapped at Yorktown. Cornwallis? He's in command of all British troops in Virginia. General Washington, Cornwallis must have at least 7,000 men. Lafayette will need our help. We'll march southward at once. But, sir, if the British at New York see us leave the Highlands, they'll know something's up. Yes, I've thought of that. But I think I know a way to outwit them. The next day, we followed your orders to the letter, sir. The men are building more huts and bread ovens. And we've spread rumors that you're preparing a siege of New York. Well done. Deceived by the huts, the British commander discovers, too late, that he has been tricked. It's true, General Clinton. Washington built those huts and ovens to keep us here while he marched south. He's fooled us again, blast it. No wonder they call him the old fox. Meanwhile, Washington commands the final attack at Yorktown. Cornwallis hasn't a chance, sir. Not with the French fleet bombarding him from the sea. And so, Washington's daring spirit leads to the final victory at Yorktown. Washington spends that winter pleading with Congress to pay the claims of his soldiers. He returns to his command to find angry officers awaiting him. Congress has treated the army shamefully, General Washington. What this country needs is a strong man to take over the reins of a government as king. A king? Is that what we fought for, gentlemen? It was the army that won the war, and we have the right to decide the country's future. We want you to be king, General Washington. You mean to compliment me, but it is no compliment to suppose that I would betray the trust of the American people. Our countrymen did not shed their blood to exchange one monarch for another. I will hear no more talk of kings. Return to your duties, gentlemen, and be thankful that I do not have you court-martialed. Yes, sir. The colonies are free now, but the country is weak. Foreign powers look with contempt at the new government. Congress is almost penniless. But you cannot put my family into the street. Here, I have more than enough money to pay my debt to you. Bah! Continental dollars. They aren't worth the paper they are printed on. The states argue bitterly among themselves. Don't argue with me. You're a New Jersey tradesman. You'll have to pay a tax for every chicken or cabbage you sell here in New York. Blast you! You'll pay for this. From now on, we'll boycott any New York goods that enter New Jersey. In an effort to find unity, the country adopts a new constitution. In 1789, Washington is elected the first president of the United States. If any man can unite this country, it's George Washington. Soon after taking office, Washington makes a grand tour of the country to show the people that they have a stake in the new government. The people respond with enthusiasm. Quarrels and differences are forgotten. Hurrah for Washington, our new president! Hurrah for United States of America! Back in the capital, Washington faces his hardest task. His cabinet quarrels bitterly as two opposing parties fight to control the nation's destiny. Jefferson, we Federalists believe that the government must remain in the hands of men of property if the country is to grow strong. No, Mr. Hamilton. As a Republican, I say the government belongs to all the people. Our first duty is to protect the rights of the individual. The future of the infant republic is at stake. The bickering and jealousy leaves Washington tired and discouraged. This quarreling will destroy what the revolution has won. Why? Why did I permit them to elect me president? I would 1,000 times rather be back on my farm. But Washington summons up the courage he learned long ago in the wilderness of the Ohio. Gentlemen, Federalists or Republicans, our main job is to establish our country as a free nation, strong enough to uphold our rights among the nations of the world. Hear, hear! With Washington as a symbol of unity, the United States comes through the crisis, and when at last the President retires from office in 1797, he is able to say, "And so, with heaven's help, I have lived to see the United States as one great whole, which may bid defiance in a just cause to any power on earth." Hurrah for Washington! Washington retired to Mount Vernon, where he died on December 14, 1799, devoted to freedom to the last. And according to General Washington's last will and testament, all his slaves are hereby given their freedom. Throughout the land, Washington's country, men raised noble monuments to his memory. But the greatest tribute to him is the mighty nation he helped to carve out of the wilderness.